All righty. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Super Kicking with Steven right here at 11:30. A little bit later, Greg had to finish up some things this morning, so we're here. We're ready to talk up the Royal Rumble and talk up some AEW. He should be joining me any minute now. He just had to finish up a couple things. What a Royal Rumble it was last night. Got over late, but hey, we're here. We're live. We're doing this thing. Um, really strong Royal Rumble. I mean, one of the oh, trying to get that camera just right. Come on, camera, tighten up for me. There we go. All right, well that's the best we're gonna do. But anyway, so kind of looking at last night. Not a lot of reliance on part timers. No real old timers in the Royal Rumble. Just straight up guys that are, and girls that have been doing it all along. So I can't wait to hear Greg's thoughts. He was finished washing up this morning, so he'll be fresh and ready to talk it up today. Uh, like I said, it got over last night, I think about 12:15, 12:20-ish last night. The main event started about midnight, maybe 11:45-ish. And yeah, long night for us here, but hey, we're here, and yeah, we're just going to give you all the good thoughts on what happened last night. So we'll kind of bring it up right here for you so you can see some of the results. Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble last night. That's right, Cody Rhodes. The story was there all along. You could tell I'm rocking my Cody gear. I was, Team Seth, but I mean, it had to be Cody. They threw it in our face and they gave it to us anyway. So, and then when we look at the women's Royal Rumble as well, I think Rhea, yeah, it made a lot of sense for her to win with the way things were going for her. So, it was one of those. I thought it was wide open, but then when you really had to just look at it, I mean, the two winners were the they made the most sense. I think that's one thing we could say about last night. Stories were moving along in the right direction. You had callbacks in the Rumble. You had Edge showing up. Dominic takes out Ray, maybe. So we're going to have to go that route. I'm curious to hear what Greg, and I think we'll have to talk about Karrion Cross. I mean, he loses to Rey Mysterio the night before by a fluky win, yeah. And then he just kind of goes out unceremoniously last night. So I'm definitely interested in what Greg has to say about that. And like I don't know if the book has already been written on Karrion Cross, but it doesn't look too hot for him right now. Who else? Gunther. We have to give, as Greg likes to say, all the flowers to Gunther. I mean, start at number one. Went for an hour and 11 minutes, I think they said, which outlasts Dominate or Rey Mysterio's an hour and 6 minutes. They still don't want. They brought up the idea of traditional Royal Rumbles because Daniel Bryan was the longest competitor in the greatest Royal Rumble, which featured 50 superstars. I think he was a good hour and 15, hour 20 minutes there. Obviously, a lot more superstars there, but you know, Gunther got all the praise last night. I mean, Triple H is high on him. You could tell. Lashley and Brock continue their feud. We did have Lashley dump out Brock in a three. Brock was in there for about 3 minutes, laying out German suplexes and gets taken out. Lashley got taken out. Logan Paul showed up. It looks like the writing might be for Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. I actually like to see Ricochet go against Logan Paul. I don't know what in the world that means for Seth Rollins, but I'm kind of, they had that little standoff with Logan Paul, with Ricochet, and I think the crowd was really into that. So, Seth could carry it, obviously. Seth, working with somebody like Logan Paul. But, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what else Seth could do at WrestleMania right now. But we'll also have to look ahead to Elimination Chamber, as you could definitely see some things in the main event with that. But Cody Rhodes will move on. He's going to go WrestleMania night 2 and main event against Roman. And I mean, all the writing is there. And I'd like to see, give one title belt on Monday after all to Cody. and let Cody have one undisputed title and kind of roll with that. And then, do we see a reign of terror by Roman, as the bloodline just crumbles before him? Because I do think, we're going to see the bloodline kind of fall apart there. And then it's going to be a whole new, I think we're going to go, we'll see what kind of route we go with Roman after that. But who else kind of showed out in the Rumble? I mean, Dominic, you got to give him some love. Like I said, I think we're going to go Ray and Dominic at Mania. I just don't think Edge and Rey Mysterio against Dominic and Finn, or Dominic and Priest. It's a good story, yes, but I think the writing is there. I think you have to pull the trigger. I think Ray is smart enough to know that he doesn't need to wait till his last match ever. But here he is, the man of the hour right now. Greg is here. Let's bring him on. I'm just kind of getting off the thoughts right now as Royal Rumble, as you just finished it up. So I know you'll have plenty of thoughts fresh off the brain. Glad to see you, Greg. Hope you're having a good weekend. Cody Rhodes is our winner. So we'll start there. Then I had some other thoughts rolling, and I'll throw those at you as well, and we'll go from there. But Greg, I'm rocking all my Cody wear. So obviously I'm Cody. I never thought Seth was going to win. But anyways, yeah. So the story was there, though. It had to be Cody, right? I mean, there was no doubt. And then Gunther. So Cody and Gunther, 1-30, which is crazy to think that's how it ends. But Gunther gets all the praise, too. And he deserves a big moment at Mania. And even if he loses, I was kind of thinking ahead, Greg, with Gunther. If he loses to Sheamus, because, they keep touting that Sheamus is another one of the IC title, I think you bump up Gunther to the next level. And Gunther and Cody for the, WWE Universal Championship over the summer, I mean, sign me up. I mean, really, I think that's a good story. So let's start with Cody. Comes in at 30. I think it's probably best spot for him too, Greg. So maybe he doesn't do as much, kind of see where the water is for him. And then we'll go with Gunther as well and kind of see where things are going. And then I like that other little quick hits there. But give us your take on Cody Rhodes, your new 2023 Men's Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah, man. Well, first I got to give myself the Barry Horowitz for nailing that pick.
Yeah.
And at 3 of the final 5, not the final 4, but until that Logan Paul fiasco. But and nailed it with Gunther because took it Lashley out of the mix, put Gunther in his spot, and I trust Triple H with Gunther, and like I said, but during the Vince McMahon era, I did not want to see him on the main roster anywhere near it with Vince in control. But Triple H just gave him the due that he's earned from all those years in NXT UK, and the guy is a beast, and he's getting put over as a beast. And you could tell by the reactions to everybody who was watching that they buy it, that they are all in on Gunther and him being a top guy. And even though he didn't win, the future is really, really bright for him. And Cody, couldn't pick against Cody. Coming in number 30, and all the pub is given to him, the little behind the music vignettes they've been doing on him, and it was the story to tell. And you can tell with his little belt that said "Finish the story" that that's what's going to happen, and it's going to be a great championship match. I mean, looking at the final 4 that were in there, who made the most sense to face off against Roman? It's better to make money off the matchup we haven't seen yet and put that big story behind it and have a unstoppable force and movable object type of moment. So I think it was great. The whole Men's Rumble played out great. Loved the way they stacked it and played it out. And the right guys were in there at the end, and the right guy won. So
no reliance on old timers. I mean, we had Booker T, but Booker T's been hounded for that spot for whatever reason, Greg.
He lasted 60 seconds.
Yeah. So how about let's kind of do some of the other little maybe. So Gunther, Elimination Chamber, give me the Hoss fight in the chamber, Greg. Give me Lashley, give me Brock, give me Drew, give me Sheamus, and defend the title there. And then whoever it is, do we maybe give Sheamus the rub at WrestleMania and let him have that IC title, kind of mark that off the list?
Yeah, he's earned it. I mean, he's been killing it.
It doesn't hurt Gunther at this rate, I think.
No. And he's got his win at
Cardiff.
Clash of the Castle.
Yeah.
And, Sheamus takes this one. There's going to be a trilogy coming up, maybe at SummerSlam. Yeah. So, there's plenty of time for Gunther to get it back. But this is going to be one of those, every time they're in the ring together, a la Udo or Usos and New Day, that you stop what you're doing and you watch it. So they got something there.
And we're doing Lashley and Brock, it looks like, for Mania then. I guess.
Yeah. And
which is fine.
Some type of, no holds barred, maybe in a cage, maybe in a Hell in a Cell. That would be a great Hell in a Cell match. But, some type of match like that where
finish it off.
Yeah, no rules, no no basic match. This has got to be brutal, bloody, blood and guts type of match.
I wonder if Fight Pit style, but then what about Drew? What about Drew for Mania? I mean, could we put him in? Could it be Drew and Sheamus and Gunther all boss fight together? Or I know we like the one-on-one matchups, but I don't know where Drew is headed for Mania.
Well, there's time to put him in a good program with the amount of time they have left before Mania. So we can find somebody for him, but with you're printing money with Sheamus and Gunther, so I wouldn't mess with that and put somebody else in the ring with him.
Then Logan Paul looks like him and Seth for Mania. But you know what, Greg? I think Ricochet and Logan Paul is a better matchup. I mean, they looked like they really worked well together. And you got Logan Paul, who's, more of a high flyer guy than we realized. And Ricochet that. I don't know. I think I like the idea of Logan Paul versus Ricochet better. But you did have Logan Paul dump Seth Rollins, which is our old school Royal Rumble type into Mania booking. So which way do you think you want to go, Greg?
Yeah, first move of the night with Logan Paul and Ricochet. Holy crap.
Because if you missed
that is not what I thought was going to happen right there. I saw them both springboarding, but I thought they were just going to land in front of each other and face off. But that midair clothesline was ridiculous.
Almost like the Spear of Edge to like TLC type style. I can't remember who did it. Was it Devon? Or Bubba, maybe Bubba Ray Dudley, but whatever, problem. Or no, Jeff Hardy.
Move.
Sorry, Jeff Hardy. Because him and Jeff always did the crazy.
Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah. Everybody popped for that. I was jaw on the floor when I saw that. So fantastic spot. Logan Paul and Ricochet, if he's as good a high flyer as what that move would lead us to believe, then absolutely. But I think this has Seth written all over it because Seth is going to want his pound of flesh for getting eliminated. And, nobody likes Logan Paul anyway. And when he made his entrance, he was getting booed lustily by the whole crowd. So it's going to be an all Seth crowd.
Yeah.
And it was just perfect for him. He needs to play up the heel part and lean into it. I think he's still trying to be a good guy, even though everybody boos him out of every building he's in. So he knows what he's going to get when he walks in there with Seth, and Seth's going to want payback. So I think that's where that's going with Logan.
Yeah, we'll see where Theory goes. Theory was in the last 4, I believe. So they're still high, Triple H is high on Theory. How about Karrion Kross, Greg? Is the book already kind of being written on him?
I hope not.
I guess because we got the fluky win by Ray the night before, which Ray beats, guys all, but I don't know. He was just kind of in there, and then he gets, kind of just dumped out. I felt like, it didn't feel like anything really came of it. So.
Yeah, I can't tell what they're doing with him, but it's like maybe they're leaving it to him to, flesh out his character, and he's not doing a good job because I don't know what he's supposed to be, and
He does.
his matches are kind of blah. So, he needs to, add something more to his game because, once you get past the entrance, you really don't have anything. Um, so I don't know.
Or
Maybe
you have to do
send him
more
back down
with,
to NXT where he was somebody. But
or maybe more with him and Scarlett. Maybe they need to work more together somehow and let her carry it, like with talking and whatnot. But yeah, so and we forgot Pat McAfee back. I mean, we needed Pat McAfee to call that Royal Rumble, right? I mean, McAfee helps out a lot with what's going on and just his energy for it. So
yeah, he totally does.
him and Corey work really well back and forth. So because Corey needs that, heel or face to kind of play off as well. So was there any other? Trying to think if there's any other thoughts. Any other things that jumped out at you? Edge was back. Oh, Ray and Dominic. We got to do them one-on-one at Mania, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Definitely
it's
got to
probably
go
going
down
to be
now.
Edge. It's probably going to be Edge and Ray versus Dom and Damian or Dom and Finn. But you had Dom, except he can't rip a mask for the life of him, Greg. Those masks are pretty. I kind of felt bad. I mean, I felt bad for the end of the night, Greg, but man, I felt more embarrassed for Dom trying to rip that. Maybe they should have given him a paper mask or something. And he even had the long ass ramp to walk down to try to rip that thing, but he was having no luck at all. So, yeah, that was kind of
It's
funny.
it kind of fits though, him trying to be tough and hard, and he can't rip a mask. So
I guess it
there's
does.
that too.
Yeah.
Um, but
No
yeah, I like
real. Sorry, go ahead.
the story that they were telling with that, with Ray's music hit right before Dominic was supposed to come out, and we didn't see him, and then we're wondering what happened, and next Dominic comes out holding Ray's mask. So great storytelling. So
I think we have to do one-on-one with them at Mania.
yeah, that's
You
gonna be it.
open the
That's gonna be
night,
the WrestleMania showdown.
open the night, or give it a little bit of love. So, and then, man, Kofi Kingston, is he's still in it? His right foot was up, Greg. He never landed, but I guess
I
I saw a couple of people say they wonder if he might have like knocked himself a little bit. Maybe not knocked all the way out, but hit a little. Maybe one of those. I hate saying stingers because I mean he was going head first into that chair. Try to land it, but then they just never said anything. So this is the second year he's kind of missed the spot. So maybe he's got his moments, Greg. Now he could just wrestle and do that type of stuff. So or just put on a regular match. But and then Xavier Woods and Chad Gable. That was a nice little standoff, right? I mean, you could sign me up for that on the SmackDown.
wrestling spot, that was awesome.
Because I mean, they both have the amateur background, and Gable has his, big time uh, Olympic. Maybe put Gable Stevenson with New Day against Otis, Chad, and somebody for Mania. Well, I guess Gable doesn't look ready for that yet, but So, any other quick hits from the men's Royal Rumble, Greg, on your end that you want to throw my way?
Well, let's see.
No reliance on old timers, I will say that. Edge came
It was
back.
refreshing.
Beth was there. We both said Edge and Beth would probably be there. So that was, not too surprising to see.
With Rhea and Beth and Edge. I'm surprised Beth was in the Women's Rumble.
Yeah.
But she would have had to take out Rhea, and you could see that was against the plan. So
maybe we'll save Edge and Beth for Rhea and Damian at Mania.
Yeah, no one was I can think of in the men's Rumble, but shout out to everybody. It was awesome. Great way to start the night.
Nice little callbacks, like we said, like Edge, going after Dom and Judgment Day and stuff. So, well, we saw the the Mountain Dew match, Greg. Is that all we got to say on that? It felt like they cut it short. Like all of a sudden he just hits Sister Abigail and it's over. I mean, which if I get it, but you were giving LA Knight some moves in there too, though. That's why I couldn't figure out, and then to see how Uncle Howdy kind of, totally missed the spot. But hey, that's kind of what we, that's a weird spot to hit anyway. It looked like so, and it was kind of cool to have the little characters, up there. But and Bray did look nice. I mean, that was, the way the lights hit. I kind of felt bad. I can't imagine live Greg it showed up well.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about it being that type of match where with the lights off, because the people who are in the audience are going to be missing out most of it. Yeah. The neon, pops, but the rest of their bodies are going to be obscured. So you're going to be seeing like their clothes clashing, running into each other, and there's not enough blue light to help everybody in that arena see.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I don't like about it. I wouldn't keep this as a match moving forward for him.
It
was decent.
Time, just thanks to the Mountain Dew sponsorship.
Yeah. And I do like pitch black. It is really good. So I'll give them props for that. I tried the pitch black flavor. It's like great Mountain Dew.
They did their job.
Yeah.
You should have had it like Cody Rhodes at the press conference, Greg. You took a sip of it here.
I agree. It was good though. I enjoyed the match, but I like you. I felt bad for the people who were in the audience who probably missed out on half of what was going on, even though they neoned everything that they possibly could, including the desk that they had destroyed. So
with the white pieces of paper or the black lit, I almost thought it was popcorn for a minute, and but then that paper was just sitting there. How about does LA Knight kind of go the Matt Hardy route and join up with Bray Wyatt now that they've fought each other, Greg? The Blackpool Combat Club type stuff.
I think it would be great. I mean, we both have them cast as the rabbit.
Rabbit, yeah.
In the funhouse. And I think it would be amazing. But we'll see where he goes. I mean, he works great on his own. His promos are amazing. So he's
But it did feel like a write-off for LA Knight.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, just a weird way. He can't just come back like on SmackDown this week at least, right? I mean, at least let it play out a week maybe. And then we go back to back. So then we have Bianca Belair defeat Alexa Bliss just kind of straight up. But then we get the whole tease of, Uncle Howdy telling Alexa that she really thinks she's in control. So we got to see that turn happening soon too, Greg, I think.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that
slow
match?
Formation of the Wyatt Six is pretty much what that is. So
yeah. Anything on that match?
It was what I thought it was going to be. It was nothing special. All it was is just another vehicle to get to Alexa's mind game, and her seems like impending infiltration into the Wyatt Six. So. Like I said, I'd like to see somebody else in the Sister Abigail role, but it looks like they're sticking with Alexa to, fill that spot. So it's just a matter of how long it takes for her to completely, turn back to her previous character.
Or maybe, like Bray kind of took a different spin on the Fiend, especially with his mask at the end, Greg. So maybe they do something different with Alexa this time to kind of give her a new look for it. So. And Rhea Ripley, number one, right? She went wire to wire. Wins the Women's Royal Rumble. I had Raquel pinned there, but Rhea Ripley makes the most sense. I'm going to assume goes after. I still think I'd like to see her go after Charlotte instead of Bianca.
I like that. And again, the Barry Horowitz
because
Nailed
they
it.
give their story better. Like we have the Rhea factor that Charlotte beat her for the NXT, because they were actually calling back NXT stuff. Surprisingly, Greg, I feel like sometimes they don't call out NXT, and then sometimes they do. But I felt like more, they were kind of bringing it up last night. I thought for a lot of former NXT people, which is what you need to do. You don't need to act like it's its own thing. So, yeah, you did call Rhea Ripley winning. I can't remember who we said in our final four though.
No, I think most of my Final Four wasn't even in the match. So
Yeah.
You had her and probably Trish
Okay, that's right.
and
Lita.
they have Raquel in there.
Okay.
But those are the
Raquel
only
with
two of the
her
four that I got in there.
Eddie Guerrero themed gear, which was nice to see. By the way, Seth Rollins with the Spurs alternate uniform, Greg gear, that thing was popping. I know we don't want to talk much gear, but man, sometimes gear looks really cool stuff. What about Becky? What about Bailey and Damage Control? Just kind of controlling that match. They dump out Becky. Speaking of Trish and Lita, Greg, I might go 6-women match and do Becky with Trish and Lita against Damage Control at Mania. And then maybe say Backlash. If you do Backlash, that could be Becky and Bailey one-on-one, because Backlash. But I don't know. What do you think? Am I wishing for the stars there?
No, I like it. Put 3 legends in there against Damage Control, and it's just an extra selling point to see Trish again and see Lita again, and then Becky. So that's a Mount Rushmore to some people. So having that in there wouldn't suck at all.
I guess if you can find enough women to go after the tag team titles, or find worthy women, then you let that go. But I don't know right now. It just seems like they're just kind of there. So trying to think any other women's takes. I didn't really have much women's takes on there. It just, it wasn't bad. Oh, Michelle McCool wrestling in the Uggs and gigantic yoga pants. I almost joked, Greg. I told my family we were watching. I'm like, just put the daughter in there. Let her run a couple. She looks like 11 or 12, 10, 11. She could run with the women a couple. We had Nicholas, right, at WrestleMania, Greg. So why not have, Michelle McCool's daughter run a couple, Undertaker's daughter, get her Royal Rumble moment. But I think that was the only legend, right, in the Women's Royal Rumble was Michelle McCool.
So that was a cool moment, coming out the front row to jump into the ring. That was fun.
In the Uggs. Speaking of gear, wrestling in Uggs. Her feet were comfortable.
Hey, talk about appearances. I'd almost forgot about my hot Asian girlfriend.
Oh,
Asuka,
yes.
with the new look and the new music. Okay, let's go.
Kana callback.
I'm hoping that it didn't look like she's going to be a heel, but I hope this is what this means. With the drastic look, and she did pretty good for herself making a Final Four. So, and I totally spaced out Asuka, because she's been gone for so long.
Piper's
and
back.
Piper never getting their name back. Yes.
And Nia.
So, Nia was a huge surprise. So,
literally, I told once again, she looked a little bit bigger. Not her gear never, her gear is never flattering, Greg. I noticed on Nia Jax, but yeah,
true.
So, like they said, I don't think anybody was shouting to the rooftops that we need to see Nia Jax in a Royal Rumble, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know what the possibilities were, but while I was watching it, I thought, an amazing number 30 would have been Naomi.
Yeah, that's what I wrote. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then, Greg, the end of, it was never going to be about Roman and Kevin in the ring, right? We all were kind of waiting, and that end So let's see if we can recap it. We had, Roman win. It looked like Kevin was going to get it a couple times. I mean, that crowd was on their feet pretty much the whole end of the night, Greg. But it's all about, what was at the end and the final test for um, Sami Zayn. So you had Paul Heyman just happen to have blood, some handcuffs. So they handcuff Kevin Owens and Super Kick City, Solo going at him. Roman gets a chair, and Sammy's calling it off. He's had enough, but so Roman's like, nope, you're going to do it then. It's almost like the son doing Old Yeller, taking him out back. And the second greatest chair shot, or maybe the first now, Greg, to Roman Reigns. If I'm Roman, I don't want to turn my back anymore on people with a chair on me. But we get Sami Zayn turning, and then he gets laid out for his trouble. But we had Jay not have a part of it, Greg. And I kept thinking, okay, Rock, okay, what are you doing? So we're not getting the Rock at WrestleMania. I guess that's the first start, right?
That's what they want us to think. I'm still not in on that. I'm still not there. Until
After
we get to
Cody
WrestleMania,
wins, Greg, do you
Rock's
think you're
there.
still going to wait for the Rock to come out? It's going to be next year. I mean, and that's what's weird. I mean, if you were going to do it, you'd have to do it now, Rock and Roman. So
I suppose, but I don't know. There's still time for pieces to move. But
and like we said,
ending,
Sammy had to be the one to turn.
Yeah.
So he did that. I still think night one you do Sammy and Kevin against the Usos and take out the Usos on night one. I know or not everybody, but people are like, why would Sammy not go for the title? But it's all about the relationship. And you bring that up in the story. You bring that, Kevin and Sammy have wanted to do this together their whole lives. And that's a bigger story. And then winning tag team titles together, I mean, that's their world title. I think, we can go down the road and maybe Sammy could get a world title at some point, Greg, but I just don't know if Sammy needs to be world title right now.
No, there'll be an opportunity for him to get a one-on-one.
He might get a one-on-one match next month, actually, if you think about it. And that could be where Kevin makes the save, since Sammy had to save Kevin.
Right. So, yeah, it's all about Kevin and Sammy. And so, again, the way we were drawing it up, and the way the place popped when he hit Roman with that chair was awesome. It gave me goosebumps because the whole place roared. I had a friend of mine who went to see it live. So, have you been to a Rumble yet?
I've never been to a Rumble. That is on my bucket list. But I feel like it's always too far south, for me to get out on a weekend down there. So
yeah, that Rumble energy is palpable. You can almost cut it and eat it.
You've been to one in Phoenix, right?
Right. Yeah. And it is electric in there the whole time. And I could imagine what it would have been like seeing that chair shot in person, because the place exploded, and when the place goes nuts like that all at once, it's like being in front of the speakers at a rock concert. You feel it in your chest, you feel it through your whole body, and it carries you away with it. It is so. I'm gonna have to shout out at him to see what that moment was like for him, but. Yeah, I feel it coming through the screen when that happened. That the whole place was so hooked. Nobody was looking at their phone. Nobody was, talking to their buddy. Everybody was locked in. So,
in Canada, I think you almost do the same type of, you pull out the handcuffs for Sami Zayn, Greg, and let Roman go to town on him and make Kevin Owens say, and Kevin Owens and Sami at the end of next month, on screen together, kind of stand above Roman and whatnot, or letting Roman roll out the ring, or whatever. But I'd almost play the same. I'd almost played out the same way. I mean, I know it's lazy writing probably, but Greg, but it probably, I mean, it works. You know, so
it makes total sense. And then Sammy comes down and makes a save in Canada, and fights off the bloodline, and then a huge hug at the end. And all of Canada is going wild, and you get another pop like one we had tonight or last night, and that solidifies them as a tag team and on to WrestleMania. So
I'm saying Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns next month. If you want to put, you can say title on the line just so that Sammy's got a world title opportunity. So and then like I said, Kevin Owens makes a save. Gunther in the Elimination Chamber. I'm trying to think. I wonder if we'll do another chamber match, but maybe tag team title. I don't know, but so yeah, those are kind of our big events for that. So yeah, that was Triple H laid everything out. I mean, I was saying on my end, Greg, I think we got done watching about 12:15, 12:30. I mean, that was a late night because I was like, it's 11. It's not even like is the women's or just was finished up the women's Royal Rumble ish, and I'm like, man, we still got that Hardy guy to perform, which whatever, but kind of just I was definitely on my phone for that moment. Kid Rock wannabe, right? I'm like, is this Kid Rock a little fatter? But yeah.
NBC, because I was going to watch it after work last night, and you have to wait for the actual replay to be posted on Peacock, and I get home at midnight. I'm going to turn it on and wait 5 minutes after midnight, but now the press conference is going on. So there's another hour. And then 1:00, and they still haven't put up the replay, and they're still Triple H is still talking. So I was like, great. Set my alarm, get up at 7:30, and I guess the speedy 3-hour premium live events era is over now. This is because we had a solid 4+ on this one. So
and we had less matches. Who would have thought? But anyway,
thanks for bearing with me on the tapping in or coming in late, because it's like I can't get on while the main event's still going on.
And then I'm like, oh, man, I hope I gave him enough time, because I'm like, I can't remember how long that was after the main event. I mean, how long the end of the night actually. I think that was a good, another 15 minutes or 13, 14 minutes. So I was like, oh, he probably needs a few extra minutes.
Given all the shenanigans that happened after the actual pinfall, it was almost another half hour.
Yeah.
So
the match wasn't bad. It wasn't, but it wasn't anything like. I don't think it was anything groundbreaking. It was what we expected, I thought. So
yeah.
We'll do our commercial breaks, Greg, and then we'll get into AEW. I think we could save our NXT stuff for next week. And then we'll get into our Raw. You got your Raw moments ready that you think you want to throw out there for our last call? You got your list, your handy dandy notebook?
Yep, I'll be grabbing. Yeah, I got them.
Good. All right. So we'll do our commercial breaks, get an AEW, throw some stuff there, and then kind of wrap up the show after that. So let me get we'll do Rogue Energy, go for all your good performance at Elite Performance, and then, of course, get your Realty Talk with Sean Nugent. So we'll get these all out of the way, and we'll be right back.
Yes. is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
And I'm a dummy, Greg. Welcome back, Chelsea Green. But anyways,
I was about to mention that, yeah.
And Roxanne got in there, so I forgot. Oh, and Zoe and Indy. But anyway, sorry. There's a lot going on, Greg, so I couldn't remember everything. But I was like, oh yeah. I'm scrolling through Twitter real quick. I was like, oh yeah, Chelsea Green is coming. So, and she did get hurt, so there we go. Good 2-second run for her. So AEW
and she got to keep her indie music and character. So there's that.
Yeah. So I think she'll really be able to roll with that. And she could throw up. She's a record breaker. So there you go. So, Jericho Guevara defeated Andrade or Andretti. I thought Andrade was going to show up last night, but he didn't. Still waiting for that. So, but he defeats Action Andretti and Ricky Starks. I don't know, Greg. This feud still is not. I just can't get into it at all. Can you talk me up and out of it, or talk me up to it?
No, it was pretty much what you thought it was going to be. Shenanigans with the bat and with the numbers advantage, and just paint them as the underdogs and let them fight their way to the top and eventually get their win. So nothing new under the sun right here.
Darby Allin defeats Buddy Matthews. Really great showing for Buddy Matthews, I thought. We did have Ortiz come to save Sting in this with the House of Black. So it looks like we'll kind of get Ortiz, Allin, and Sting kind of fighting them. It also looks like we're going to get Darby Allin and Samoa Joe, I believe, is it this week's Dynamite? I thought I saw.
I believe that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so that will be we'll see which direction that goes, or if shenanigans happen in that. But thoughts on Darby Allin and Buddy Matthews, Greg, and kind of the addition of Ortiz right now to it.
Yeah, I gave that match, really, really good. I think this is probably my favorite match of the night. Mm-hmm. Just you start Darby's quest to get through the House of Black, and don't sleep on Buddy Matthews, guys. Yeah. The guy's a killer in the ring, and I think the AEW crowd doesn't know much about him yet, aside from the people who watch both brands. But when you give him time and let him do his thing, Buddy Matthews is a boss. I mean, he kills it. I go back to my favorite match of his in WWE when they went to Australia and he won. I believe it was the Cruiserweight title in an amazing match. So, the guy can go. And so this match was all I was hoping it would be and better. So, props to both of them. It was a great match.
Yeah, I can't remember who he beat now, but I know that was the Super Showdown thing, I believe. So, Jungle Hook gets a win. I think we're going to cycle back to Broken Matt Hardy, Greg, according to Being the Elite show. And, Matt Hardy, whatever. So, Jungle Hook, though, they get a win.
And another team, two unlikely guys going, teaming up and, maybe making a tag team run, even though we may be flush with tag teams as it is already. But the Jungle gets hot, they can, get that push, but with the Acclaimed at the top, it's not the best timing unless Acclaimed loses the belts. So we'll see how that goes.
We did see the family therapy session, Greg, and man, that fell flat on its face, didn't it?
Yeah, yep. It was a disaster. It told us nothing pretty much. So
other than the gun club wants a shot.
Yeah.
Do you think they upset the Acclaim just to swerve us?
It's possible. I mean, could Daddy Ass go back to taking him up with his sons? Absolutely, and hit one of the Acclaim with a chair shot and cost them the titles.
Maybe
I can
he said
totally
he
see
was
that happening.
all along. He infiltrated. He was a mole. Since we know Billy Gunn is such a smart guy, Greg, he would have such a strategy like that. But yeah,
It could totally happen, and he could play the "I played you guys all along" card. So
you can play that, but he already did. I mean, he kind of already tried. I mean, they already did it a couple times, but yeah. So, Brian Danielson defeats Brian Cage, and then we saw Takeshita come out. Something to see. People keep saying, "Well, why didn't the Blackpool Combat Club?" I thought they're dead anyway, Greg. So, I kind of think that symboled that last night or Wednesday night because you had Willard Yuta in the back challenge Hangman Page to a match on Rampage. So, and then Claudio, I guess, is MIA for the time being. So, yeah,
because after the main event and everybody came out on the stage,
that's right. Yeah,
Claudio was in that group. So that was my thought too. It's like, where's the BCC to help him out? And so yeah, that could tell a story too. When Danielson goes heel and he can point back to this moment, go, where are you guys when I was getting beat down by? Yeah. So it's totally there.
Team up with Takeshita for a little bit. Looks, just kind of maybe give that guy the rub of working with Danielson.
Yeah, or they're probably going to do what they say they're going to do and try to bring young talent into BCC so they can, create a culture of killers or a stable of killers.
Because I don't think we're going to get a tag match with Brian Cage and MJF against Danielson and Takeshita because I don't want to see Danielson and MJF fight till Revolution, right? So we'll get somebody else. MJF will pay somebody else to kind of stand in there to kind of go after that. So
they put over Takeshita so much,
yeah,
but he loses every match that we see him on TV. So they need to do something for the man and get him some wins.
Even if he wins a tag match with Danielson, that's something, right?
Yeah.
So Ruby defeated Tony Storm. I was kind of surprised with that, Greg, because if you're building Tony Storm as a new heel, but we also had Britt Baker show up on the ramp, probably more in a face role, kind of caused the distraction. So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened there.
Yeah, this moment to use the outsiders versus the homegrown talent. We figured this would have been done on the men's side a long time ago, but nobody's really gone there yet until right now. So, and now they're talking about sides. It's clearly defined that this is the angle that they're shooting for. So,
which is kind of funny.
Curious to see how this is going to work.
Britt Baker's a homegrown, so the fact that she's teaming with, I guess Ruby. Anyways, so then of course we had the emotional tribute. Greg, so happy to see, the Briscoe, Mark Briscoe get on TV. Because all the rumblings were, hey, they're never going to be on TV. We won't WB, but something must have happened, Greg. Tony Khan might have paid a few extra bucks or something, but just a nice tribute match. Tears rolling down Jay Lethal's face. You had, Mark carry both titles out. And then, like you said, everybody, it's just too bad we couldn't have done this last week. Because, it felt emotional, obviously, but and good for them for being able to do it.
Yeah, and I've been seeing lots of fan created videos of tributes to Jay Briscoe and going through some of that old footage. It's all awesome. Saw a couple tributes using the Leonard Skinner track they always came out to. Give me back my bullets.
Yeah.
And some great fan videos on YouTube. But this match was, fantastic match and very raw and emotional, and you could feel it. And I started getting choked up a little bit watching him because you could see how real it was. He passed a week ago, and here his brother is, and now I'm seeing that Jay Lethal was one of the longest running rivals, and they both asked for the match, and Jay Lethal from the get go is just bawling his eyes out, but they got it together, and they gave us a great match, and then they gave Mark his flowers, and he got to take his bow in the ring, and everybody came out and paid their respect.
Yep.
I'm gonna go get that shirt. I'm gonna get. They have the tribute shirt that all the proceeds are going to go to the family and to the daughters, for their medical bills and all that stuff. So, I'm going to get me that shirt at some point. And but yeah, well done by them. I think given the circumstances that the networks finally relented and go, okay, go ahead and do it. And, better late than never. So
yeah.
And hopefully we get to see some more Mark as we go on. And, maybe there's somebody else that, the Briscoes are tight with, and he can have as a tag team partner, and they can make a run. So, but they deserve it, and, again, rest in peace, Jay. And, well done. Shout out to AEW for figuring it out how to get that to work.
Some Rampage notes. Adam Page wins. Hangman wins. He wants to knock out Moxley next week in Dayton. Greg, does he do it?
Well, I don't know about knocking him out, but I think he'll get that win and finally, take him out. Maybe does some rough stuff after the bell or something like that, or it gets stopped somehow, and this writes Moxley off, for good for a while. But they've been doing this thing with him and Renee backstage, and just leaving a little tease of something. And so, what is it? So I'm liking what they're doing, but I think this is where Heyman shows that he's more ruthless and vicious than we've seen him before.
Yep. That one team got a win with Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
Powerhouse Hobbs won. You know what I do have problem with, Greg? Why do we put in the champion in a eliminator, whatever, like this tournament that they have? Why is the champion in there? I never understand this. Because they do it on the men's side too.
Yeah.
And you never have the champion lose. Like, if you're going to have the champion maybe get beat in that first match, I can understand it. But I feel like the champion always wins in these whatever they call them, eliminator, tournament challenges, whatever they are. So Jamie Hayter wins. Yeah.
And yeah, it was what we thought it was going to be. Great fan sign, by the way, the Haterade sign. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But
that should be a shirt.
Yeah, totally. Give that fan some money and then print that sign
on it.
Right.
So, all right, let's just get to the good stuff. Let me hear, Greg. Do you have an order, or do you just have your top 5 Raw moments in any order?
I can go 5 to 1.
Okay.
Let me see. In my list.
Okay.
So I at number 5.
Yep.
Because they have to have a Stone Cold moment in there.
You
could do 5 Stone Cold moments.
I know, I'm struggling to pick which one. So I want to hear which one you said, Greg.
I have to go the beer truck.
Okay.
The beer truck was epic. Driving I think it's Coors Light truck down to the ring. Banging the ring with it and getting on top with the beer gun. Yeah. Pretty much a giant hose that sprays beer and soaking Vince McMahon and
Shane.
Yeah, Shane
and The Rock,
And
right?
yeah,
And
and
The Rock had just won the title.
visual of Vince McMahon trying to swim in the ring through the beer.
Yes.
It was just a great moment that the audience is going nuts, and Stone Cold just looks like a king up there holding that beer hose and killing him and just drenching the whole ring. And probably the whole first row was getting drunk off of all the beer that was being sprayed all over the place.
I mean, heck, we could do 5 moments of Stone Cold driving a vehicle, Greg, like from Raw. Because I think back to the Zamboni when Kane had they were going to present Kane with the title, or Undertaker and Kane with the title. And that's when Stone Cold came with the Zamboni and took him out, and the inflatable punching bag of Stone Cold was thrown into the ring by some fans. So, yeah. My Stone Cold moment was Austin Tyson, Greg. There was no doubt. Now, what's funny is that kind of overpowered, right, the Austin Michaels match, but that moment, the money flying out of the pocket, either it was Tyson's pocket or whatever, but I mean that felt real. So that was my moment for Stone Cold.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one too, and I decided to go with the beer truck. It may have been recently biased because they showed that moment on Raw 30.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5.
Okay.
Number 4, I got to go with let's see, one of my 2 promo segments, and that was the DX, because you got to have DX in there, doing a parody of the Nation of Domination.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I remember watching that, and I laughed so hard. Just out of that whole segment was so great. I think Triple H was The Rock, and Sean
Mark Henry
was Mark Henry. Yeah, X-Pac in there. You had the Guns, or not the Guns, but the New Age Outlaws, and they were all
a random Owen Hart guy, right? He was a little tiny guy,
right,
with the caution tape on him.
Yeah, and that whole segment is just so great. It was so funny. Shawn Michaels was ridiculous.
I don't think we could pull that segment out now, Greg.
Yeah, it might be censored by NBC right now.
I don't know if X-Pac can come out in blackface these days. So
you can find it somewhere to rewatch that. It's epic. So you had to put that on there.
Yep.
And it was between that and DX going to Monday Nitro in the tank. So I think that happened during Raw too. So, but I took that segment just by a hair over DX going to Nitro, because that was something that you don't see, that infiltrating the enemy territory live while that show is going on. So love that.
Bischoff swears he wanted to open up the gate and let them in, but I don't know. I don't buy it. So.
Yeah, I don't either.
I almost thought you were going to go State of the Union when it was Shawn Michaels, Triple H in China, where they could say they were like, saying the words they shouldn't say. So I think Rick Rude was in that too, if I think about it now that I'm like racking my brain.
Yeah, who's your number 4?
My number 4 would be Jericho wins a title, but doesn't. So remember when Jericho, it was the fast count by Earl Hebner, and Jericho won the title for like 5 minutes over Triple H, and then they had to reverse it and restart the match, But that was one of those like real moments for me. Like I was so pissed that Jericho didn't win the title because Jericho was, he was really big. He was starting to really becoming his own then. So I thought that was a good moment for him to get it. But yeah, Jericho winning the title with the fast count, and then Shane, and that was starting to peak Triple H Stephanie stuff with Shane. They were all on the same page, so that was kind of the the reign of terror of Triple H. But man, Triple H was at his, was just starting to get into form with what he would do. So yeah, I think that would be my.
Into restarting that match, I believe, right?
Yep, he brought Shane McMahon down and dragging Earl Hebner by the collar. So because they were in power technically, so yeah, that would be my 4. What about your 3?
Number 3, I am taking, and this is a little bit surprised when I look at my list, but I had to put it here. I had to put the pipe bomb.
Yeah.
At number 3. And when you see my number 2 and number 1, you'll see why. But the pipe bomb is still talked about. It's still probably the most infamous promo that exists in wrestling. And I think when we all heard it, our jaws were dropping on the floor because, we recognize real when we hear it, and the way he's talking, and that was a good 5-6 minute rant, and it was, scorching your TV from the inside with the stuff he was saying. So I'm sitting there, and I think even after that, people were talking about it for weeks and weeks, and it's still as hot now as it used to be. So pipe bomb for sure.
Seth Rollins wants to keep CM Punk's name out of his mouth yesterday, Greg, if you didn't catch that, or a couple days ago on an interview. So, yeah, that was interesting. My 3, I'll go Seth Rollins, turn on the Shield because of my bias being there, Greg. And, I've mentioned a few times being live for the Shield debut and the breakup. I mean, that's a piece of trivia that, how many people will have live. So I will go the Shield with Seth Rollins turning. And how about Roman giving the same chair shot and reaction last night as that one? I mean, he had to go back in the memory banks for that one, Greg. So yeah, the Shield breaking up is my number 3 moment. All right, let's hear number 2.
Number 2 is the only match on my list, and that was the first TLC.
Okay.
And
that was
that
on Raw.
I want to believe the first TLC was on Raw.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
I remember it being Raw. Maybe I don't think it was a replay. I think it was a real thing, but it was just a groundbreaking match, and it left you exhausted watching it, but just so hyped, and everybody brought their A game, and you couldn't turn away from it. It was a live action car crash, and it was amazing. So
are we talking about is it the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian? Is that the one you're thinking
versus the Dudleys?
Oh, the Dudleys. Okay. Well, sorry. I was thinking back to the Terry Invitational. Do you remember that ladder match where they had the bag of money for Terry's services on the tit? Because it's the Terry Invitational tournament, and it was because that was the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian, and that one was on Raw, so that's why I wasn't sure, but I forgot that the TLC match was there. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number 2. Let me look at my list. I got to go Mick Foley winning the title. Even though they gave it away, everybody decided to turn over anyway, Greg, from Nitro to watch it. So, Bischoff said he would do it again. Okay, whatever. But, Mick Foley, and especially when he's like, he's just yelling, "Yo, Adrian, I did it." You had Stone Cold coming out to help him, yeah, but DX was there to help celebrate with Foley. You had The Rock, playing up his part, even though The Rock would eventually win it back, I think, a month later or a few weeks later at Royal Rumble or something. I can't remember which one they did it at, but, that was The Rock and Mick Foley's little feud there. That was really awesome. So, yeah, I'm going to give Mick Foley winning the title as my number 2. And last, but certainly not least, Craig, your number 1 Raw moment. Let's have it.
Number one, the countdown to the millennium, baby,
Yeah, that was.
with Rock in the ring, and the millennium clock counts down those final few seconds, and we get the introduction of Mr. Y2J, Chris Jericho. And it was beautiful because this is like right at the beginning of the internet era, so
Yeah.
it wasn't spoiled all over the place. And when guys move from one company to another, you don't hear about it until it actually happens. Even though they show a couple signs in the audience after
Yeah,
he comes
which is
out.
crazy, isn't it? Because that was even pre. That just had to be message boards. I mean, people just somehow figuring it out. But
Loving WCW like I did, and loving Jericho as much as I did, when that moment happened, I saw that, I was knocked out of my chair because um, huge Jericho fan from the WCW days, and um, that entrance was fire, that music was fire, his look was on point, and he was amazing. And then that promo that he and The Rock cut, just beautiful. And I still say that is the greatest debut of any wrestler ever. Moving from one company to another, and
that was still kind of done back then. It was just we never really knew who to expect.
that was a game changer right there. His arrival was a game changer, considering everything he's done in WWE from the moment he started with Y2J until when he just left. So um, that is still, if I pull up my favorite Raw moments, that's the one I'm going for first. That debut, that promo he cuts with The Rock, just it will be timeless. There will never be a time when it's not fun to watch.
Oh yeah. I think I got to go. My number one, Daniel Bryan taking out Bray. It was always weird him being in the Wyatt family, Greg. And him I think it was and then he was celebrating on top of the cage. Apparently he was cussed out of his mind. Like I remember them talking about like how a producer down below had to keep telling him to do the yes chant. But that moment, was huge. That Daniel Bryan was already on starting on his upswing anyway, but him getting away from the Wyatt family was much needed, and that moment was just always awesome. But I think an honorable mention I had was CM Punk taking out The Rock at Raw 1000, and which also involved Daniel Bryan, because that's when AJ Lee and the wedding fell apart. And Rock takes out Daniel Bryan. Did you have any honorable mention, Greg, that you wanted to give a shout out to, and then we'll kind of wrap up the show?
Weddings, the Little White Chapel wedding of Triple H and Stephanie. That was a great segment right there. And then the many deaths of Vince McMahon, from the limousine exploding to there was another one that I'm forgetting, but he's died on screen a few times on Raw. So I have to give credit for those.
It's all a dream. That's all it is. So, I mean, I guess the limited one, Greg, you wonder if that was going to stick if it weren't for the Chris Benoit stuff that happens right afterwards. I wonder if they were going to stick. They had to stick. They were going to write that off and then move on. But
yeah, that was shocking because I was watching it live, and he just got in there. It was great, camera work, and it really they blew up the vehicle with him inside it. So,
I mean, I guess you could also bring up Vince when he did the little spiel about moving to an edgier product, because that was on Raw. That was right before Raw started. So that was interesting, just because with where WWE was at, and kind of family friendly, and these larger than life characters, and then you had WCW kind of doing that thing. So then WWE realized we got to do something different. So, but yeah. So. All right. Well, that's all I got, Greg. Thanks for watching. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up the shop here?
Yep, just championship weekend. Just look forward to some football tonight. And
Saying Bengals Niners. I want a rematch of the is that 88 or 89 Super Bowl? I think it was.
I'm calling for Chiefs and Niners just because
Okay.
this is I think this is a rematch also.
Yep.
But
Last
I'm
year.
pretty sure.
Oh no, 2 years ago.
There you go. I'm
Recently.
pretty sure our fearless leader Dan the Man has picked the opposite two teams, so I can beat him in our pool. So no, he's
Hey,
an
somebody
Eagles
over
fan.
here is sitting pretty at 9-1. So
I know. How about that?
apparently, I needed the playoffs. I didn't need the. I could pick. I could pick a few games easy, Craig. I can't pick a whole slate. But yeah, I didn't even realize I'd forgotten. I was like, because usually we pick them and then I don't remember. Like, I don't really think about it until afterwards. But I was like, oh wow, I only missed one, so that's cool. But yeah, so yeah, I think it was Chiefs and Niners a couple years back. I want to say. I know the
I think you're
Niners
right,
and
'cause I know we've
Ravens,
seen it.
and I know the Niners and Ravens was the blackout bowl because remember they had the power surge, and that was Harbaugh versus Harbaugh. But so the Niners have been there. I guess I forgot Niners been there a few times in the past decade plus. So yeah. So I mean the Brock Purdy story though, Craig, is the one like if he goes out and wins, even if he loses the Super Bowl, it's hard to argue him not being the
Yeah.
starter next week or next year, right? I mean, to take him.
High draft pick to get Trey Lance. And
That's what's crazy.
Jimmy
Like,
Garoppolo's in there, and
I mean, Jimmy G has to be gone, but
yeah,
so,
to get something for him. But yeah, the best quarterback in your building is the last player of
Mr.
the draft.
Irrelevant. So
Yeah, it's insane. I
Bill
love
Bill
it.
Belichick might be trying to trade back to there, Greg, to get some diamond in the rough. So, maybe that has a new name, Mr. Relevant. I mean, I can't even imagine what would happen if they win next. If they win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. I mean, if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm like, bye. I'm going out on top. I mean, good. Thanks for the year. Give me my guarantee. I mean, come on, like, people be jumping at him to do anything he wants. So, but yeah, that would be quite the story to be the last pick in the draft and to become a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And quarterbacks usually get the MVP votes, Greg. So who's this? I mean, gosh, he would really have. He'd go to Disney World probably till next season. just camp out in Cinderella's castle. Be like, I'm buying this whole suite for the next 3 months. Don't wake me up.
Show me the money, or else I'm taking my talents elsewhere.
All right. Well, let's end this show with that note and get back to all our wrestling stuff next week. Do we have? Oh wait, we got Vengeance Day. Okay. Well, we'll worry about that when it comes. If anything, we can always recap it in our NXT stuff, or if we got a chance.
Well, I'm still trying to decide if I want to go to Vengeance Day or not. 'Cause
Oh
it's
yeah,
right here in Charlotte.
That's in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing's really popping out. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll watch it, but
I was thinking the same thing. Is that it's here, but nothing's moving the meter for me as far as I need to go see this match live. I mean, Braun and Waller, okay.
in this field, yeah.
But
I mean, I guess the Roxanne versus Gigi and JC. Like, you wonder which way. Like,
yeah.
will she pin both? So, all right. Well, have a good one. We'll talk soon and enjoy your day.
All right, peace.